Plaintiff Susan Brokaw dated the defendant, but she claims he turned out to be a liar and an abuser. Susan claims on Valentine's Day weekend, the defendant grabbed her by the throat, threw her against a truck, and threatened to kill her. And she has the pictures to prove it. Susan's suing her ex today for unpaid loans and emotional distress. Defendant Johnny Webb says the only reason he's being sued is because he stopped having sex with Susan. Johnny claims Susan was obsessed with him and constantly wanted to have sex with him. And after she forced him to go on Viagra, she would count his pills to make sure he wasn't using them with someone else. Johnny doesn't believe he owes Susan because he claims he worked off the debt.
Prove your case.
I met Mr. Webb in February of 2007, and we began seeing each other. We dated periodically for a few months, quit seeing each other for a while, and then in October started communicating again and decided that we would give our relationship another chance. The only thing I had ever asked of our relationship was that he be truthful and honest with me. My dad had brought me up to believe two things. First of all was that you never had any defense against a liar. The second thing was that a girl could run faster with her pants up than a boy can with his pants down.
Did you chase her with your pants down?
No, sir. No, sir, I haven't done that.
She said he didn't do that.
Your Honor.
So why would your dad think of that unless he did it?
Oh, my dad has been deceased for 5 years. That's just something that my father brought me up knowing, teaching me.
Okay. And I'm just having a little fun. I'm sorry to hear. Sorry to hear that your dad passed. So.
There's two things that I got instilled in me. We started seeing each other, like I said, again in January. We saw each other all year until February of this year, at which time I had gotten tired of the lies that I knew were being told to me. Mr. Webb's puppies were at my house, and on Valentine's weekend, he had promised that he would be there either on Friday night or Saturday. He called me on Saturday, said that he had an emergency at the RV park where he was living and wasn't going to be able to make it. Would it be okay if he came the next day? And I said, okay. He never showed up.
Sir, she says one of the biggest problems in a relationship was your dishonesty, and she points to the Valentine's Day incident as one.
Your Honor, the only reason that I'm here today is because I stopped having a sexual relationship with Susan, period. It was a constant type of situation where I was getting my post office box filled with cards and explicit letters, my mailbox on the phone. It was constantly, every hour, there was phone calls on there, constantly asking.
So she was chasing you with her pants
Correct,
down.
Your Honor. Correct.
I don't think so, Your
Trying to
Honor.
keep them up or keep them down. I was being chased for it and getting the information. I had to be there, and I had to make it happen for her. Constantly.
You have any of that?
Yes, sir. I brought some of the ones that are in the good taste, not bad taste. Those are some of the examples. Your Honor, after my surgery, she demanded that I be able to perform, and I had some prostate problems, and I couldn't perform. And she said, well, I have male colleagues that have had prostate surgery and stuff like that, and 2 weeks later, they were performing. I thought, well, I can't see how that's happening. And then she wanted me to go into the Viagra. And then, Your Honor, she wanted to count the pills to make sure I wasn't using them with someone else on that possibility. It was a constant, everyday situation. I was getting those cards. Some of those are duplicates you can see. And if you look in there and see some of the information, that'll give you an idea about what I was going through at that time in the relationship.
And I can tell you exactly when those cards were sent.
She had a fetish for whipped cream. She wanted to have that consistently done all the time. She would go into those kind of perceptive things. And after surgery, even with that kind of a situation, there was no way that I could, come through with that.
He's like, you're so great.
Ma'am, is any of this true?
The night, oh my God. The night of February 14th, when I took the dogs back out there, Your Honor, he grabbed me by the throat and threw me up against my car, threatened to kill me.
That's emotional distress?
Called me.
We'll get back to the lawsuit then.
Your Honor.
But I was just trying to allow you to respond to the allegation.
Okay, I can respond to that.
Your Honor, the cards.
I'm sorry. The cards that I sent him were in lieu of me being able to talk to him, because in May he told me that he was leaving for an underground project in Kansas for Dynacor Corporation, which he has never worked for.
You didn't harass him about intimacy?
Absolutely not. I did not harass him about intimacy.
Do you want to respond to the allegation that you were lying?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to present this document. This to show you my, again, this is just part of it with Dynacor. I am a mentor with them.
Okay.
That would take care of that part there. It's highlighted. This is the report where she states that I guess what she's saying that I choked her, but not according to what she made the statement to the officer there. That's a completely different statement as to what she made to the officer
there. It's not the statement that I made to the officers, and I questioned them about it when I picked it up.
So you say the officer wrote down something different than what you told them?
Absolutely.
Okay. They didn't see any physical marks on you?
I have pictures, Your Honor, that were taken.
Okay, but why do you think they said that?
Your Honor, I would have been in jail arrested that night had that been the case.
What did happen?
They got my ID. They escorted Miss Brokoff off the property and told her not to return.
They would have seen this. Did he ever assault you before?
No. No, he had not.
Tell me what occurred, what led up to the assault and what actually happened.
Okay. I took the puppies out to the RV park, knocked on his door. He answered, asked me what the hell I was doing there. I said, I brought your dogs back. I'm sick and tired of your lies. He kept pushing me backwards and saying, get out of here, get out of here. I slapped him. That's when he grabbed me by the throat like this, threw me up against my car and said, I'll kill you, you blankety, blankety, blankety psycho. He told the police that he had used his cell phone to call them.
No, I didn't.
He had not used his cell phone because he had thrown it at me. They did question me. I told him that he had hit me. I told him that he had choked me. I told him that he had a loaded, unregistered, concealed weapon that he carries at all times with him with hollow point bullets in the chamber. That I didn't know what he was capable of anymore. That the man that I loved was not the man I was having the altercation with.
Why didn't you leave when he told you to?
I was trying to.
That's not what you just told me. You said he kept pushing me away from him. That means that you weren't leaving. If you were walking away, he wouldn't be saying, leave, leave, pushing. He would watch you walk away and say, thank goodness. Police said they looked and they saw absolutely no bruises on you. And they would see this. Unpaid loans. Tell me what happened here.
I have a breakdown, Your Honor, of the money that he owes me.
How so? Tell me how he came to owe you.
On January 23rd, he said that he had been up since 5:30 in the morning because he had a broken water pipe in his RV. But he had just gotten a message flashed across his TV screen from Dish Network saying that his Dish Network was going to be disconnected because he was 2 months behind in his bills and that he was also behind in his cell phone bills. And could I please help him out by paying these two bills for him, the Dish Network and the AT&T bills? I have a copy of all of those.
Let me see them. And the total amount came to how much for the loans?
$1,200.
What were the terms of repayment?
There was no terms. He just said he would pay me back when he left for the job in May.
Sir, $1,200.
That's not true, Your Honor. That's none whatsoever. She insisted on making sure that phone was still connected. I wanted to cut it off. I could no longer afford it. She volunteered the other part, Your Honor, completely. And as far as the loan, Your Honor, now I got some documentation here that should cover part of that. She altered part of the documents on that.
I didn't alter anything.
Tell me whether you agreed to repay her.
Your Honor, what I was doing is she called me and she was telling me about she's buying a new house and she needed my assistance. I had been in the business of remodeling and for pest control. I told her I would give her assistance. I would help her in getting the house. It was an older house and she was going to need assistance on that.
You misunderstood that request. No wonder you're getting sued. What are you saying? She asked you to work it off?
Yeah, correct, and I did, Your Honor.
Your
I did
Honor?
work it off.
Did you tell her you just had surgery?
Electrical things and things like that, correct.
You never did anything
work it off with electrical things. Okay, all right. No,
He never did anything electrical.
But I did do
so
that.
you're working it off in home repairs.
Correct.
Not in relations.
Correct, and I have.
Your Honor,
Well, I had to do that too, Your Honor, to keep the other part happy. So that was, the nighttime part was that was different than the daytime when I was working there.
Work it off night and day.
Correct. I did 2 tour duties, Your Honor. That was my second tour duty
Your Honor?
during the nighttime.
I did not buy my home until the end of August. I started paying his bills in January of 2008. He did no repairs on my home other than patch the main patio roof cover where we could sit outside during that time. Anything else that was done to the home was strictly cosmetic. I never asked him to do it. He told me when I thanked him profusely for what he had done and the indirect lighting that he put up on the patio, I enjoy doing things for you.
Let me back you up, because you just said he could not have worked on my house because I didn't get it until August. Right. Then you start giving me a list of exceptions.
He never did anything from January until August, the end of August.
You said at
Nothing.
all, ma'am. Because the issue here is whether he did anything and whether he is to get credit for the things that he did. And your testimony was, no, he never did anything. And then you went on to tell me what he did do. Sir, you have some evidence you wanted to present regarding the loans?
Yes, sir. In the sworn affidavit, the one on the top, Your Honor, is the valid one that I got later.
Now, what does this have to do with?
She claims that was part of the loan money, the voucher there, Your Honor. The original one that was taken later and certified does not have that information on there. That's an altered document.
Ma'am?
I didn't write the information that it was a loan on the check that I sent him. I wrote it on my copy of the check.
Let's see your copy. Okay.
It's contradictory.
Here's a copy of the
Let's
check.
see. So, what you're saying today is that everything he's saying that
He's a
wrote,
pathological liar.
I understand. With regard to your relationship issues, I can understand that. And I'm sorry that you're so upset about the relationship. But I can only rule on the things that involve the loan today. And you say that he was to do all that work for you for free?
Your Honor, I paid for the groceries while he was there. I did his laundry. I did his ironing.
How long?
From August until the time that we broke up. And I was buying all the groceries before I bought my house from January through August.
Was he contributing any money to the
No,
household?
he was not. He was not paying me 1 cent.
I wasn't living there either. I was gone.
Was he
I had
living
my own
there?
residence.
Was he living
I was
there
working.
or not, ma'am?
I have a calendar of when he was at my house and when he wasn't that I kept.
Did he have clothes at your home?
He certainly did, and I brought a whole suitcase of his clothes that he left there to court with me.
One she bought,
You
Your
brought
Honor,
them
that I
here
never took.
today?
Yes, I brought everything back that he left at my house.
Your Honor, those were clothes that she went and bought.
They were
and
not.
She paid for them. Well,
They were
he
not.
said they
They're
were
new?
$10 sweaters.
They're new?
As far as I know, that's what she told me, but
They
I never
were
took
not.
them. I never went near them.
How do you know about him then?
She called and told me on my phone.
You haven't worn any of the clothes.
Some
wore
of
them
them
all.
she gave me, but most of them I left there, Your Honor,
Why?
because I didn't want to wear them. I didn't need them. I had clothes of
And
my
you
own.
never wore those.
Not all of them, no. And not the shirts. I never wore those.
You didn't change the story up, sir. On the other hand, ma'am, you've just given me your copy of the check, which shows you wrote.
I wrote what it was for after I wrote it to him, yes, sir.
After
Yes, sir.
it came back. That's
No, not after I came back. I wrote it on my check that day.
No, ma'am. No, you didn't.
I asked his sister.
Ma'am, I'm going to conclude that you have perjured yourself. What you presented to me today has the blue ink that you wrote in after you received the check back. Also, ma'am, the police say they saw absolutely no injury. So I'm concluding that you have perjured yourself. As a result, your claim is dismissed. Have a good day.
Thank you, Your Honor.